Have you ever tried filling glue from a large bottle like this into a tiny one like this and spilled glue all over your table? Or do your hands go numb, squeezing it forever out of a tiny nozzle? In this video, I'll share tips to avoid a mess while filling your bottles quickly and easily. Every quiller has their own favorite type of glue, and mine happens to be Aleene's original tacky glue because I enjoy how thick it is. I find that it dries really quickly and I can move on to the next shape that I'm quilling. The bottle that I actually use most often is actually this one, and so I'll fill this glue into this bottle because of the fine tip that I get, that I can place the exact little dot of glue that I use for quilling. Okay, so for most quillers, if you want to be refilling a smaller fine tip quilling bottle like this, let me just show you what can happen. First of all, before I do anything, I suggest that you get a sour cream container like this, and that way if there's any spilling, it's not going to go all over your work surface with a lot of cleanup to deal with. Now, see that trapping of air? That's what's happening. This is an empty bottle and yet there's an air bubble inside, and it's filled up this whole nozzle area. It almost needs to burp to release that glue to get it back down. Let me show you some ways to get around this. So what we're going to do is squeeze this bottle ahead of time. So I've got it squeezed quite a bit here. Watch what happens when we get that air bubble. Okay, so you see the glue is at the top, and what I'm going to do is just gently release my fingers and watch it sucking the glue back down. So as the glue comes out, I just release the pressure on my left hand, and the glue will not develop that air bubble. And give yourself some leeway, so I wouldn't, continue filling non-stop. Give your right hand a break and allow that glue to suction down into the bottle. So you can actually know exactly how much glue you have in here and how much you need to fill. All you need to do is just give it a squeeze and watch as the glue comes to the surface of the neck. And how much I'm squeezing is telling me how much room I have to fill. That's how we can refill it really fast. No spilling of a drop, no burping needing of any air bubbles. Now, if you want to refill from a large bottle to this medium bottle, let me show you how I go about doing that. Notice the openings are exactly the same size. So the natural tendency is to want to bring them so close together, to basically thinking you don't want to spill any glue. But I actually found that a little bit of separation actually goes a long way. What happens is, you notice the stream of glue is thicker, wider near the opening, and as it streams down, it actually gets skinnier. So I separate it about 2 inches, and this way the stream is thinner as it reaches the bottle below. So I can actually squeeze out quite a lot of glue, and it doesn't go all over the place. When I want to stop the stream of glue, tilt the upper bottle back and simply brush the openings against each other. If you have trouble holding a large glue bottle steady in midair, then try stacking some books up to the right height and lean your bottle against it as you pour. To stop pouring, I use the same technique. I brush the openings against each other as I lift the larger bottle upright. Another way to refill your quilling glue bottle without spilling is to obviously use a smaller nozzle like the one on my medium-sized bottle. Of course, it'll take a little longer, but I don't mind because sometimes I'm too lazy to dig out my larger bottle and I just want to top it up a bit. Did you know you can customize your Aleene's glue nozzle? This is what a new nozzle looks like. It has a small protrusion at the tip, and you can't squeeze any glue out just yet. I'm going to show you how to customize your nozzle from a tiny pinhole up to 3/16 of an inch in diameter. First, trim off the protrusion using an X-Acto knife. Next, I need a thumbtack, which has a nice flat surface for you to push against. And there we are, a perfect pinhole. This is what the glue looks like coming out of that nozzle. Let me show you how it compares to my fine tip quilling bottle. This is why my fine tip bottle is perfect for quilling, because you can be specific and achieve a tiny dot of glue. It's much harder to do with the Aleene's bottle, even with a pinhole. One thing that you can do with this kind of pinhole nozzle is that you can smear your glue stream if you want, because the nozzle tip is relatively large and flat. If you're wondering why I want to smear my glue, watch my other video, Quilling Glue Basics, for 5 helpful tips about how to hide your quilling glue. I'll leave a link in the description below this video. What we're going to do is just trim a little bit of that nozzle off, maybe about halfway down to that first shoulder here. And you can see now the opening is a little bit wider. And now you can get a lot more glue out. Let me show you what that stream looks like. Now, as you can imagine, the more that you trim down this nozzle, the wider the circumference is going to get. And I wouldn't suggest that you trim past this line right here, because that's how the nozzle tip is going to get covered on there. It needs that to lock onto that area. Since this is my larger glue bottle, I have trimmed it down pretty close to that mark where I mentioned. Let me show you a comparison. And this is the circumference of the circles. This ends up being about 1/8 of an inch in diameter. Now, if we compare it to the one that has the nozzle at the bottom, this one, let me just show you a comparison of those nozzles now. So this is what this looks like. So you can see that this is a finer nozzle that already comes pre-made for us. And this is how that compares there. Now let me just give you a quick glimpse at how the tacky glue comes out of this nozzle. Very nice and easy to control. And then let me show you how it looks like coming out of this 1/8 inch hole. When you've used up all your glue, don't throw your bottle out. That nozzle is still useful. Remember when I told you not to cut past that line because the cap needs to lock onto it? Well, now that you don't need to cap it, let's cut it down some more. Now at this point, the nozzle is 3/16 of an inch wide in diameter. Now I'll show you what it looks like to refill my quilling bottle using the larger circumference. First, I'm going to squeeze out the air. If you enjoyed this tutorial, please support me by clicking the like button or sharing it with others. If you're new to my channel, click the subscribe button and the bell icon so you'll be the first to know about new tutorials. There we go. Some quillers enjoy using Elmer's glue, and the best part about all these nozzles is that they're actually quite standard in size. That's right. So if you wanted to enjoy the Elmer's nozzle on your bottle of Aleene's glue, you can just swap that out. And then if you like using the nozzle that we created from the Aleene's and put that onto the Elmer's to make it really quick to fill it up, you can swap that out. And you can even use the nozzle from the medium bottle and swap that out without making too much of a mess. Seriously, people, I know I usually don't make a mess, but during the making of this video, I sure have been making some. Anyway, here we go. Look at that. We just converted the Elmer's glue into a shampoo bottle style. What if you don't have any Aleene's products whatsoever? You've always been a fan of Elmer's and you want to refill from a larger bottle into a smaller one or a quilling bottle, and you're just tired of using such a small little nozzle to achieve that. Well, did you know that you can actually take this part off? All you need to do is put a pair of tweezers on either side of the cap and just gently pry it upwards. look what we have here. Can I confess something? I actually bought this bottle just for this video to do this little experiment because I've always been curious what's underneath. So you'll be learning along with me how the glue comes out of this unusual nozzle here. So you can see it kind of gooshing out on either side of that triangular bit. And I'm just going to hold it above and let that drizzle down. That's going to allow me to fill my bottle, and I don't have to squeeze, I don't have to burp. Kind of cool. So I've done some fair bit of squeezing now, and I'm just going to release this bottle up, and that's filled it up quite far, quite fast. So I hope you enjoyed my little experiment on refilling quickly. And by the way, it's really easy to put this back on. You just kind of push down and close. And now I get to do an experiment I've been curious about this whole time. This is the fine tip glue nozzle. This is the Aleene's tacky glue with the nozzle on the bottom of the bottle. This is the Elmer's glue all nozzle. Let's see if I can get that finer. And then this is the Elmer's school glue, which I borrowed from my helpful nephews. So that one came out rather fine. I'm pretty sure it's just a matter of the way I bead the glue here. Interesting. So I think it's because this is a little thicker, so I had to squeeze a bit more, but when you compare the glues, you can see that the Elmer's school glue is a little bit thinner. It's a little bit less, it's less opaque. So it's probably more water content in there. Anyway, I was just kind of curious how those nozzles compare. Okay, so I thought I was done filming after seeing how the Elmer's came out of this nozzle, and I thought, well, wouldn't it be kind of interesting to see how would this nozzle work on the Aleene's? Would it flow just as easily? Because I'm assuming that the Elmer's is runnier, and so therefore it flowed so well out of it. And then as I was playing around with these nozzles, I realized, oh, actually the Elmer's opening here is actually two different sizes. So this smaller one here, it doesn't fit on the larger bottle at all, because I was wondering, why doesn't it fit on these Aleene's? So just note of caution, it's not the same. This, even though the cap portion is the same, this thread here is different. So I actually have to take the thread out of this Elmer's and test it on here. So if you guys want to join me in my test, let's just see how it runs with the tacky glue now. What brand of glue do you like to use? Do you have a way of filling it without spilling? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this tutorial, please support me by clicking the like button or sharing it with others. Yeah, I would say it's pretty easy to control. I think that triangular piece kind of directs the stream quite readily. So there we go. Now I know how it runs. Pretty good. Not bad. I hope you enjoyed my little experiment too. Now, if you don't want to go through the hassle of cutting a nozzle, I'm happy to tell you that you can buy a nozzle from Anna of Her Paper Paradise. She's made a 3D printed nozzle to make refilling super fast. I'll leave a link in the description below this video.